Here is our review on linear perspective. And this is going to be a quick overview. Most of you learned this with me in Art 1 or with Mrs. Fye in her college drawing class. Linear perspective is a technique representing three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. This method was invented during the Renaissance when artists were trying to draw as realistically as possible. It's a mathematical system to show depth realistically. Linear perspective is based on the way that the human eye sees the world. Things that are closer to us appear larger, and things that are further away appear smaller. To create this illusion, the artist creates a vanishing point on the horizon line. Objects are drawn using orthogonal lines which lead to the vanishing points or point. Things that are seen face on, which means you are looking at the front of them directly, are drawn in one-point perspective with a single vanishing point. You would draw your box first, and from the corners of the box, your orthogonal lines would be directly to your vanishing point. This line is called the horizon line. The lines on your box are either vertical or horizontal. And your horizontal lines always run parallel with your horizon. Two-point perspective are things that are seen at an angle, which means you aren't looking at the front of something, but at an angle or corner, and they are often drawn in two-point perspective using two vanishing points. When you were doing two-point perspective, you draw a individual line, and then from that top of that line, you will draw orthogonal lines to both vanishing points, top and bottom, top and bottom. Only your vertical lines will be completely straight. Your horizontal lines will not be parallel with the horizon. They will be diagonal. Vocabulary words for this unit: perspective. It's a way of showing where the observer is. The objects themselves don't have perspective. You, the observer, do. One-point perspective occurs when rectangular forms are placed so that their sides are either parallel to the picture plane or perpendicular to it. There is one central vanishing point in one-point perspective. Two-point perspective is necessary when the rectangular objects are positioned so that the faces are at an angle to the artist's line of sight. There are two vanishing points for an object in two-point perspective. If there are two cubes at different angles to the viewer, then each cube will have its own vanishing points, but only one horizon line. The horizon line is the same as the real horizon. It's where the earth meets the sky. Obstructions can be located by drawing a line at the artist's level. Vanishing points in perspective, the lines of an object extend to meet the vanishing point, which is on the horizon line. The orthogonal lines is the term used to describe the parallel lines which appear to converge in the system of linear perspective. Horizontal lines are parallel to the horizon. Vertical lines are lines that are drawn at right angles to the horizon, running straight up and down. A diagonal line is a straight line from a corner to the opposite corner of a cube, rectangle, parallelogram, etc. Looking at these images, you need to identify your vanishing point, horizon line, horizontal, vertical, orthogonal, and diagonal lines in each image. If you can trace them with your finger on your document. So you guys will all have a copy of this. It'll be posted in Google Classroom. So your vanishing point is up here. These are your orthogonal lines. These are your horizontal lines. These are your vertical lines. Your horizon line is going to be up here. Vanishing point is back here, your diagonal or orthogonal lines. These are your verticals. Your horizon line is back here. And here are some of your horizontal lines. Two-point perspective, your vanishing points are going to be out here on the edges. These lines go back to there. There's your vertical line, your horizontal line. Same thing here. This one actually could be drawn in one-point perspective, but the design of the building makes it a two-point perspective. Drawing a city in two-point perspective, you're going to have your two vanishing points, your horizon line, and your first vertical. From there, you'll draw from the top of your line and the bottom of your vertical line to the right vanishing point, and then to your left vanishing point. So on the 29th, you'll have 10 2-point perspective boxes drawn in your sketchbook or whatever paper you have available. Leave your lines going to the vanishing points visible. May 1st, 10 2-point perspective boxes drawn in your sketchbook or whatever paper you have available. Do not leave your horizon lines visible, going all the way to the vanishing point. 5 of your boxes must be above the horizon line and 5 must be below the horizon line. Draw a city using 2-point perspective. You must have 20 buildings, including roads, intersections, sidewalks, and details on your building, such as windows, brick, doors, etc. You can create your city out of other objects, such as book, food items, or playing cards. And your final project for this unit is going to be a 2-point perspective drawing of Legos. I will provide the image that you will use to reference in Google Classroom on the 11th. This will be due on the 13th. So I'm going to quickly take you through how to do linear perspective. If you don't have a ruler at home, you can make one by taking a sheet of paper, folding it in half, folding it in half again, and then folding it in half again to give you a straight edge. So, horizon line right here, 2 vanishing points in red. So I'm going to draw my vertical, and I'm going to start with one that sits at the horizon, and I'll show you how to draw one at the horizon, and then I'll do the orthogonal lines in blue. Alright. So I'm going to go from the bottom of this line back to my vanishing point, from the top of this line back to my vanishing point, I'll do the same thing here. Bottom to the right. And this goes for every single building that you draw or every single box that you're drawing. Okay? Now, I'm making sure that this is straight up and down and parallel with my vertical. There's one. Now you can draw multiple buildings right next to each other by using those lines to guide you. When you go to finish it, you'll erase your horizon line so you can see your box. So this would be where you would leave them sitting there. And if I were going to draw, say, a road coming out beside this building, I would have it coming out like this. And then I could draw another line going like that. And there would be a road. And if I wanted to put a sidewalk in there, going back again to that vanishing point, dry erase stinks because it erases so easily. Boom. Boom. There we go. There's our sidewalk. So I'm going to show you how to draw a building above and below the horizon line. So if you have a building below the horizon line, we'll do one over here. We need a vertical. So there's my vertical. Same as we always have, we're going to go from the top to our vanishing point. No, I'm not going all the way back. I'm just lining it up and drawing as wide as I want my building to be. Okay. Draw my verticals. Now, I've got my verticals and we've got this weird thing going on where I don't have the top of a building. I should have the top of a building, but I don't. So I'm going to fix that real quick. So this line should go to this vanishing point. This line is going to go to this vanishing point. If you draw this line to here, you're just going to keep going, and you're going to have an open top. To close the top, you go opposite corner. So from this, you go to here, and to close the box, you're going to go to here. Details like windows will go to your vanishing points. So you'll just line it up and draw your windows. Move it down. Drawing something that sits above the horizon line is exactly the same. So if we find the horizon line and we draw a box above, step 1, line up, line up, okay. Make sure we're vertical. Boom. Boom. Erase the outsides. And our last orthogonal lines. We're going to close that box. Boom. And we're going to come back. Okay? If you have questions, make sure that you email me, post them into Google Classroom. I will respond immediately. And if needed, we can set up a Google Meet and I can do a demonstration for you there.